if a coalition could be set up for artists in that vein, it'll be monumental.
I watched you and your team from United Masters really create a platform to make that happen. Please welcome him back to the show, the one and only Steve Stoute, ladies and gentlemen.
Make
Steve
that
Stoute.
shit
Make it
clap.
clap.
The king.
Come on, man.
I gotta tell you something, man. I gotta tell you something. Heather and Sway, I'm floored by it because you guys have known me my whole career. And I learned this work ethic from my dad, West Indian parents from Trinidad. And no matter how well you do, you are going to be judged by, did you live up to your potential? And I just feel like I got so much more to give. And I'm still trying to live up to my potential. So when I hear those accolades, I get goosebumps because I don't think about them much. I just, all I see is keep my head down and keep going, man. So I appreciate hearing it, but I try to avoid it because, I just want to keep my head down and keep, make my daddy proud.
Well, and that's why I do and make my daddy proud. I just got chills off of that, Steve. Damn. We're here to remind folks our history isn't told properly. It's not told accurately. And sometimes we tend to sweep things under the rug. It's all about the music business. What was your last hit? But it ain't your last hit that made your last hit who you are. It's all the hits that came before that and the ones that people, the things you done that people don't even know about. And we're into celebrating because you're staying consistent. And I want to talk about that, but I want to pivot for a second. Because I know you, Stoute. I know you've been watching these versus competition. And we've been having this conversation, man. Is there anybody who can do a versus and really compete with Mary J. Blige, in your opinion?
I probably think the more appropriate compete.
Okay. That's okay. We could change that word. Okay.
No, the word compete, because you know what? I it's really odd, and I don't want to throw people off here. If you're an older consumer, if you're like myself and us, right? Like much more mature, we've been around it for a while, then you would have to go back a bit and go, well, if Janet Jackson did it, and Janet Jackson definitely got 20 smashes, does that work? Can she compete? Can she stay in the game? Or if you want to move it up a little bit more, you go like Usher had a run. Forget Usher and Chris Brown because they both danced. Like you take Usher's music, they had a run. And this can't happen because the circumstances are dire, and nor should it happen. But if it was R. Kelly and Mary J. Blige, is that the right thing? If you can take that music versus that music. But it's far and few in between people who can compete with Mary J. Blige because her catalog and the memories attached to her catalog are just larger than life.
Okay, I like that. I love how you put the thought in it. He thought about that, Bizzle. I appreciated that, right?
So Stoute, in your opinion, being that you were able to be around like the R. Kellys and the Marys and all the different people that you named, do you put Mariah in one of those categories anywhere? Would she be more of a fit with a Janet?
Yeah, I was just saying something yesterday about this. Mariah, I actually went to go see her like 3 years ago. I went to her house, and she comes down, and she's super dialed up, dressed, the whole thing. And I'm sitting there going, I just came to meet you in your living room. You are formal dressed for this. I got the right sweatpants on, but like that's about it. And she sits there and she's sitting and she points that, she has Marilyn Monroe's, it's Marilyn Monroe's piano in her living room. I just thought it was a dope piano. It was Marilyn Monroe's. And I'm looking at her and I realized when I left after talking to her that she's one of the rare, you talk about a living legend, that doesn't even describe her. She's a rare breed. Everybody who came from her generation, most of them that were successful have died. Whether it be Whitney, that was her first verses. Whitney and Mariah was going neck to neck. Michael Jackson, Prince, she was part of that group of superstars, global superstars in the mid late 80s.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that she's still walking around of sane mind and, you know, keeping up and like, so I look at her as like that. I don't look at her like Mary versus Mariah, or I think Mariah is, I think Mariah and people who come from that era are almost like endangered species.
Yeah.
That's how I look at it. And the fact that she's still alive and she's here with us is amazing to me, where her peers have passed.
Mm-hmm. Steve Stoute has joined us, the creator of United Masters Select Con. Also, I want to talk about this new subscription service called Select, where artists are able to retain 100% of their royalties. And when I was listening to this, a really great conversation, I think the young man Russ, the artist Russ, is extremely on the pulse, extremely intelligent, and he's sharing things about the back end of the business that when we were coming up, we weren't so privy to. We didn't have the same kind of knowledge he does, especially in this DSP era. He gets it. And one of the things y'all said in your conversation was if Drake just went independent, the music business is over as we know it. And to me, this new subscription service Select is moving us closer to that point, to that milestone. Talk about Select and talk about that whole concept of the music business as we know it being over.
No problem. So, you know, we started United Masters 2.5, 3 years ago, and in the beginning, a lot of people were looking at me like, am I putting my career and legacy on the line? What is it? What does that mean? What is it doing? What is a lot of questions. And I do remember that interview on your show. And it was, and I'm not saying this because I'm speaking to you. When I said that line, I literally said that I see in the future every artist is going to be their own media channel.
Mm-hmm.
I started getting phone calls from media guys asking me, well, please expound upon that. And I was saying that, you know, what I believe is that a lot of these brands, these television brands, ESPN, they get paid because they have this audience, and the audience tunes in, they run advertising against it. But Beyonce also has a huge audience. She can start running advertising against her audience. She just needs to own the platform so that she can make the money. Right now, Instagram makes the money, or ESPN makes the money. But if you can go direct to your fans, you would actually make all the money because you are the one who built that audience.
Mm-hmm.
And that helped clarify a lot of things on what I wanted to do with the company, because I'm like, if artists are able to go direct, even if you're not the biggest superstar in the world, if you can get more of the revenue from the people who love you the most, even if you don't sell 500,000 records, you sold 100,000 records, but you kept 90% of the revenue, you'll make more money than a guy who sold 500,000 records that was signed to a record company. You'll actually do better.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And when I built United Masters, I wanted to make sure that the voiceless, the independent artists, the artists that used to get laughed at years ago when they got signed to Koch, was actually the best position on the chessboard. So how do I build a independent company that provides services, that provides education, that actually elevates these artists, these independent artists, to compete at the highest levels and retain their masters and as much revenue as possible? And I'm proud to tell you that over the last 2 years, not only have we done our job and we've progressed and grown tremendously, but the mindset of the creative community has also grown tremendously. And I think this whole idea, when I was bringing up and talking about independence and moaning masses years ago, was lost on many. But I think if you look and ask everybody today, they get it very clearly. They want their masters, they want to retain their rights, and more people are celebrating getting out of record deals than celebrating getting in them.
Yeah. Steve Stoute is here, and I know a lot of people come on the lines, 888-742-3345. Can you briefly explain the nature of the deal that you would offer people who use Select when you getting 100% of retaining 100% of your royalties? How is Select, the platform itself, able to cover the overhead?
Yeah. Okay. So what we did with Select was we decided we have all these sync deals. We have a partnership that we announced recently with ESPN, where we take independent artists' music and we put it into ESPN's Monday Night Football, Sports Center, First Take, right? We have NBA 2K. We do that soundtrack. We have the NBA overall, where we supply the music for the NBA. So what we've done is, if you subscribe to Select, in which you pay $5 a month or $60 a year, you keep 100% of all the money, and your music gets. You can put your music and opt to get your music in those deals. So we cover our costs with the subscription, but then we also not just provide distribution, because other people just do distribution. We do distribution plus get your music in, nationally recognized opportunities that then gives you another opportunity outside of just distribution to be discovered, to be found. And I think we know this coming up. I found a lot of songs, either it was in video games or a lot of music I've heard the first time in watching a TV commercial, and you either Shazam it or you look it up. So allowing artists to have this level of exposure, that's the same exposure that labels are trying to get their artists, we can actually get them the same opportunities, given the fact that we've partnered with some of the leading global brands who are looking to help independent artists.
And you could run your whole office from your iPhone or Android.
Oh, yeah.
You could be at the best. You could be at the.
Yeah, it's a record company in your pocket. It's a record company in your pocket. We spent a lot of time and energy, and this was a new experience for me up in your neck of the woods, Sway, up in the Silicon Valley, Oakland area, in the dog patch over there in San Fran, right, over the bridge. We have our engineering team there, and literally they figured out and spent a lot of time so that you can operate the entire record company from your platform. So if you go from your phone. So if an engineer or a friend who mixed the song can send an iMessage to the artist, and the artist can go right from their messages, their text, and upload the song directly to United Masters to get distributed to Apple, Spotify, Amazon, Tidal. Then we just launched the Android version. So literally, your royalties, you hit a button to collect your royalties, you get a chance to see where you're streaming, and you can upload your song all from the convenience of your cell phone, Android and iOS.
You hear that, Heather? So they made it because Heather got an Android. So if you want to put your
there
next
you go,
project,
Sway.
I'm just saying.
Scout ain't asked you what kind of phone I had. That's man. Yo, but I have a question, Stoute, though, because we were actually just speaking about this yesterday. And this is just your personal opinion, if you could chime in. Do you think, though, there's still some type of an allure to artists wanting to be signed to the big label, like, yeah, I'm signed to Sony, yeah, I'm signed to such and such? Do you still think that feeling out there for artists, they still have that, like how back in the day, if you signed to Def Jam, that meant something. If you signed to Bad Boy, that meant something. You still think that feeling is out there for these artists?
Nah, so Heather, I think there's still some production companies that have that gravitas. So if you sign, for example, to QC, or you sign to TDE, I think people care about that. But I don't think anybody cares about Sony, Columbia, Republic, Capitol. I think that's meaningless. In fact, I will tell you, not only is it meaningless, but it's a bad deal, because what these record companies are doing are actually paying you money to own your name and likeness. And Heather, you've seen those contracts. You know the language in those contracts. It is the most expensive loan you would ever get, because basically they're giving you some money up front to buy your rights in perpetuity, and it ain't worth it. In today's economy, in today's environment, when an artist has his socials and can promote themselves, they're the best marketing person of themselves. You don't need a marketing person at a record company. Amen. And when you talk about hip-hop music specifically, you can develop that audience, and they will actually return the love with streams and support and reposting and memes. And that's how you get yourself out there. So my proposition to hip-hop artists and Latin artists in which they actually create their own audiences, is don't sign to a record company, distribute. And whether you choose to go through us or any of our competitors, TuneCore being one of them, I would say to you, go independent. Now, if you're Ed Sheeran or you're a pop act, you may need a record company. I understand that. I understand why Taylor Swift needs a record company, because without radio, those artists are dead on the vine. And record companies are particularly tethered to radio stations, traditional radio stations, through years of deep connections. Let's just leave it as that. However, in today's world,
the vocabulary today, citizens of Sway in the morning, you getting a hook and the catch right now. He giving you the hook and the
lines.
catch.
Decode it.
Go ahead, Mr. Stoute.
Well, there's been, I don't have to say, people went to jail behind it. So, it's not like it's a secret. But in today's world, that's unnecessary. And look, I think it's a great day for all of us who've been veterans of this industry to say that artists are going independent, owning their rights, and for the first time, going to be able, specifically with hip-hop, get what they deserve. We all wanted what we deserve. Yeah. How do I get paid the equivalent of the impact that I've made? Well, this is now the opportunity to do that.
Steve Stoute is here, and I really want you to look it up because we get thousands of artists that call us on this show. By the way, 888-742-3345. That want to learn about the business. We learn through trial and error. I only wish we had this knowledge when we were first coming in the game and we were younger and we were trusting. The other thing we did is we trusted the people who brought us into these record labels, the A&R people. They did such a good song and dance. Stoute, I remember you and me, we used to sit in meetings with Jimmy Iovine in the 90s. And have these conversations. We had LL Cool J on the show maybe 2 weeks ago, and he's doing something really interesting. I think it's in the vein. It's in the realm of what you're doing in terms of independence and autonomy. And with his rockthebells.com platform, what he's doing is offering equity partnerships with a lot of the artists, the legendary artists who didn't get paid what was due to them in the past. And so we see a lot of older artists struggling right now and while their music is still making money, their likeness is still making money for other people.
But, man. Yeah. It's sad. I'm big up to L for doing that. It's sad, man. I got, stories. I seen Kool Herc. It's one day when I was working on the Dapper Dan Gucci partnership, I was at Dab's house in Harlem, and then at the same exact time, while I was doing that, and by the way, I was doing these things for nothing. Like I did the Dapper Dan Gucci relationship and took nothing from Dap. I wanted to see it happen. If you're going to talk about and scream the culture, you got to do things to cultivate it. And I live by that, and I don't expect others to. But that was certainly one of the things that I thought was important for culture was the Dapper Dan Gucci thing, partnership. So I'm in Harlem, and then secondarily, on August 4th, every year, Google puts out they turn their home screen, they celebrate hip hop in conjunction with Kool Herc's block party that was, cited by many as the invention of hip hop. So I literally, in this celebration, they want to, honor Kool Herc, but no one could find him. So I go through every ounce of my relationships, and Fab Five, of course, is the man. Like, he gets me with him, gets me to his sister, and I meet Kool Herc down the block from Dapper Dan's house. So I'm like literally going between Dapper Dan's house and Kool Herc. And I go and I meet this guy, and he's in a minivan, and it was the saddest thing to see, man. It was so sad to see the guy who invented hip-hop and the state of affairs that he was in.
Yeah.
And I got him the Google money, which was great. But the fact that we could build, or L was working on building something that constantly gives these guys the opportunity to be recognized and get paid is extremely important. Everybody got to play their part. So I'm really happy that he's doing that. My job with United Masters is to allow things like that, bad deals, guys getting taken advantage of, to never happen again, to ever happen again. If you choose to sign with a record company, that's fine. But at least you now have the option, and the option is loud. It's slightly obnoxious, because I want everybody to know that record companies have historically not done well for African Americans. Yeah. It's taken advantage of us. You've seen all the movies. So I want everybody to know that, and I want to be loud about it. And I want these artists to realize that they control their destiny. They should write their own future and not be dependent on somebody else. Right now, you can go from the bedroom to Billboard. You don't have to go through the formal things that used to happen before in the past. And I'm not stopping. So that's the one thing you definitely know about me.
No,
is I'm going to stay on this until the end.
Steve Stoute. Before we tell people once again how they can subscribe to Select, Tracy, I know you want to jump in there with Steve. Go for it.
Yeah. Mrs. Stoute, thank you so much again for joining us. I'm so happy to see the upgrades in financial well-being for our artists. I'm also interested in your take on mental well-being, because hip-hop, for the longest time, our culture in general, we've had so many different statements like sleep is the cousin of death, and just all hustle everything, and basically just being on go mode 24/7. And now we're seeing, whether it's through the actual lyrics and songs or different outbursts on Twitter, a lot of artists are speaking about how their spirit feels very depleted. So I'm wondering, even because I've always thought as well that record labels should have like a therapist be a part of the package. Like you get a publicist and you also get a therapist to help you navigate the strongest drug of all, which is fame. How has your relationship with mental health changed over the years, with how you interact with artists and maybe even how you hire as well?
There's a lot of questions in there to unpack, but when I brought up the Mariah Carey iconic, the fact that we are fortunate that she's alive, that's really what I was hinting at. Those other artists, those peers that died, it was mental health issues, it was drugs, and everything that comes with fame that led to that outcome. I've always, not only do I feel like that about her, I feel like that about LL. LL's been a superstar since he was 16. The fact that he has it together. These people, with everything that they've gone through, being famous, recognizable around the world for 4 decades, is pretty remarkable when you think about it. And being able to have a support system, an opportunity to have the privacy, to get some sense of help around what the pressures that are on you, I think are extremely needed and required. In fact, you're right. Record companies should have therapists. They know that they are superstars, and the fame that goes with it causes issue. They get financial upside from it, the record companies. Why don't they invest in the mental health part of it?
Right.
As it relates to me, one of our clients, as you guys know, I own a marketing and advertising agency. And again, back to translation, back to Sway's neck of the woods, one of our biggest clients is Kaiser Permanente, which is based out of Oakland. And we got them completely doing work, embracing mental health. I think that mental health was something years ago that was going to become the new sort of pop culture disease. And what I meant by that was it was going to be one of those things that, like AIDS in the past, where everybody became focused on it and they wanted to solve it. They thought it was too important to solve, and you needed pop culture and the acceptance of it from pop culture to break the stigma. That's what Magic Johnson did for AIDS. That's what RuPaul did for AIDS. That's what Madonna did for AIDS. And that's what Kanye and Kevin Love, as an athlete, are doing, and others, by the way, are doing for mental health when they come out and they speak about removing the stigma. And removing that stigma is a huge part of getting to the solution. So working with Kaiser Permanente, we've done campaigns around this with Steph Curry, recently with Klay Thompson, specifically focused on mental health and helping people acknowledge that this is something that they shouldn't be ashamed of and to deal with.
Steve Stoute, man. And by the way, I was born in Kaiser in Oakland. That's funny you would bring up Kaiser Permanente. And
you didn't even expect me to say no. You didn't even see that coming at all.
No, you did a couple of those. I noticed you did that, though. A few of those in this whole conversation. I appreciate it. And he mentioned Clay and he mentioned Stephen Curry, Heather, the juggernauts, the iconic basketball players that play for the Warriors. Matthew's on the line from L.A. Matthew, good morning. Say hello to Steve Stoute.
What's up, man?
How y'all doing this morning?
We popping.
Doing great, man.
Did you vote for Sway?
Yeah, I had a quick question for you, Steve. I'm an independent artist, man. I'm with the Leslie Bangers out here in Los Angeles, but I understand you from this independent artist standpoint, how they hold you on all the stuff that you can't get, but you need the marketing. You need mass eyes. How do you get that as an independent artist? How do you get out to the masses?
You know what, Matthew? I understand why that idea is in your head, that they can get you out to the masses and they can do that and this, that, and the third. Let me just tell you what they're doing. They're looking at artists who are growing on their own, who are getting streams, who are getting big social followings, and then after that's accomplished, they're coming around and writing a check. That's what they're doing.
Right.
This is not back in the days where they controlled the attention of fans. Artists are finding their fans before a record company finds an artist. Artists are finding their fans before a record company is finding an artist. So I will say to you, for us, the reason why and what led me to a solution in doing deals and partnering with ESPN and NBA 2K and the NBA is so that I can give an artist like you, Matthew, an opportunity to get your music in one of these commercials, in one of these big social posts that have, 150 million followers like the NBA, so that somebody can hear your song and then click that link and then go further down in understanding you. And it requires repetition. In fact, when the show first started, the first thing that Sway did was he played an artist, Toby. Toby has been releasing music with us for 2.5 years. Every week this man puts out a song. He finally is getting acknowledged by everybody in the industry, from Michelle Obama to P. Diddy to Dave Chappelle to everybody. With the song, he's putting out a project on this week around just the songs he released during the pandemic. But this is a man who's used social creativity and relentlessness, and now he's about to break through as a great one. And all I can say to you is we've launched many successful artists in the last year. And if, putting your music through us and getting those types of opportunities can help move it further, then we may be the distribution platform for you. But don't think that a record company is the turnkey solution and the silver bullet that's going to solve your problems to get you attention and mass consideration.
Hey, Matthew, and look up Steve Stoute if you don't know. And this is a man who's been on every side of the spectrum. So he's giving you information that some of his colleagues are probably pissed off about right now. The information
I'll
he's
have to
giving
say
you.
thank you. I really will look him up. Absolutely. Thank you
All
very
right,
much.
Matthew, you a citizen.
That's way in the morning. Yeah,
All
I'm
right.
so glad Matthew asked that because I do. That's why I asked Steve that. I do still feel like just listening to my nieces and nephews, Sway, citizens, like some of them still think that the labels they have that allure. I'm so glad Steve broke it down the way he broke it down.
Yeah.
They don't,
Steve,
they don't, Heather, they just don't, they say that, and for the few stars that they do make, it looks like that. But for every star that they make, as you know, Heather, there's, hundreds of artists that can't even get the A&R guy on the phone.
Facts.
And you're trying to figure out what's next.
Word up.
And that, United Masters, SelectCon, we are giving out education, we are giving out opportunity, and we are allowing you to own your rights. So that part, to me, is disrupting the record business as a whole. And it's not only us doing it, I think the whole industry is moving in that direction.
Absolutely. Steve Stoute, man, you have to come back. We got to keep this series going. It's been too long since you've been on the show. And in between time, I know a lot of people are benefiting from this information. Brian in Oakland, Charles in Columbia, Lydell in Virginia. So many people are calling us right now, but I want them to hit you directly, man. Can you give out your social if they ask you a question?
Oh, absolutely. DM me. Yeah, at Steve Stoute.
At Steve.
Stoute with an E.
Okay.
Not Guinness Stoute, Steve Stoute.
Steve Stoute, and then also if people want to look up United Masters, they could Google it and find out how to.
Google it. Just download the app. Just go to the App Store or the Google Play Store if you're like Heather with an Android, and download United Masters app.
Yo, I gotta take a couple more calls, Steve. If you don't, do you have something you got to go do real quick? You got something to do?
Go ahead. Do you think?
Okay, because the lines are lighting up. Charles is in Columbia, South Carolina. Charles, good morning.
SC, stand up. What's up, Charles?
What's up? How y'all doing? What's going on?
What up, Charlie?
How y'all doing, beautiful people?
Doing well. Quick question, though. That man got time. His time is money, Charles. What's your question?
Okay, I'm from Columbia, South Carolina. We don't get a lot of artists as far as, just jumping out in the industry. A lot of people don't know where to start, where to go for us to push their music. But we have a lot of starving artists here in this area. And I'm more so of a manager right now. I have a few, guys up under me, females also, and they have a lot of talent, a lot of good music, but we're stuck. And I want to be able to help those artists, pretty much get their brand out, get their music out, and help them blow up and continue, success in the music world. And my question is, what's the best route I can take to help these artists that's pretty much lost, that really need help here? And it's a big,
I would tell
movement
you
right now for the music for us.
It's going to sound, it's not self-serving. It's why I built the platform United Masses. For exactly this situation. You are super talented. You have talented artists. They could sing. They could rap. They're musicians and writers. And they don't have an outlet. Back in the days, they'd have to drive to New York, Jodeci, driving to New York. You hear those famous stories. Drive to New York and wait in the lobby and meet somebody. Now you can download the United Masses app and get your song uploaded, in 5 minutes, and use your socials in order to promote that. I believe firmly that social media, whether it be your Instagram account, your TikTok account, whatever it may be, is the new MTV, and that Apple and Spotify are the new record store, right? And if you use United Masses in order to connect those two opportunities, we've shown that we've launched artists that's been very successful by doing it that way. And you maintain 100% of your rights. So you'll actually make more money streaming less than an artist who streamed more that is signed to a major record company that is being taken advantage of. So I'll say to you, like, Charles, download the app, look us up. I've been around. I've been doing this for 30 years. I started with Kid and Play in 1990. I've been doing this for 30 years. The first thing I've ever did in the music business was the theme song for the Martin Lawrence show. Like, that's how long I've been doing this. And I'm not sitting around at this point in my career putting out anything, any product that's not going to help move the people forward, help move the culture forward. Check me out, man.
Charles, check him out. Okay.
Man.
Charles, you're a citizen, bro. Yeah.
Did you vote for RadioVote.com?
Say again?
Go vote for Sway. Sway's nominated for the National Radio Hall of Fame, Charles. So go to RadioVote.com. We want Sway in first ballot. RadioVote.com and vote for Sway. He's nominated, Charles.
It's already a done deal. I support y'all. I listen to y'all every morning. And I love, the positive energy y'all have. And I'm always going to keep supporting you guys, man. Y'all, I look at y'all some role models.
Aww.
And, y'all keep the industry going, man. Y'all keep doing your thing.
And thank you for your vote, bro.
Straight
You're a
up.
citizen, man. All right, I'm going to take one more
morning.
call. This lines are lit up. Cortez, you got something you want to say to Steve?
Cortez.
Mr. Stoute?
Hey, Steve Stoute, my man. We grew up together years ago back in Queens. You was up in the boondocks and I was in Hollis. Me and your brother Francis hung out a long time ago. I remember you. I used to call you Little Stevie at one point, but I really appreciate everything that you're doing, brother. And you remember when I went on tour myself and I was doing music with a group called Break Machine back in the day, Fred Czar and all the other people. And I was one of those guys as well when Run and DMC and everybody was starting out. And a lot has happened. I didn't know how to go into that deal, and I just got a bad deal. We toured for a little while. We went around Europe. We did a lot of different things and came home, and then things transitioned to something else. And now I'm just living a normal life like everybody else, but I'm good. I'm blessed. Everything is okay. I'm still here. But for Steve Stoute, man, I've seen you rolling along all the way back, with Irv Gotti, everybody else that was doing stuff from the neighborhood and so forth. And I'm just proud to say, thank you, man. And hopefully I can talk with you and hook up, and me and you could catch up on a few things or whatever, something like that. But I really appreciate what you're doing and what platform that you're bringing this to, because we do need this as individuals and black artists that have propelled other people into positions and levels of power. And that's what we need. It's always been power to the people, but we still need that power ourselves. And that's a powerful thing that you're doing, brother.
But listen, let me tell you something. First and foremost, very few people have ever referred to my older brother. And yes, his name is Francis, and most people called him Curtis. The fact that you called him Francis is crazy. So you definitely, I know you you definitely are from Queens and the brand. Secondly, Queens get the money, and that area in Queens, Sway, that I grew up in, literally, no bullshit. Irv Gotti, Steve Stoute, Shaw Money, 50 Cent,
Right.
Ja Rule, Tribe Called Quest, LL, Run DMC, within a 3-mile radius.
Right.
Wow.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
I'm not naming
Motown.
all the Queens like Mobb Deep and all that. I'm talking about that area within 3 miles. Those people came from that. And in Russell, all the same from that area.
Jay, Jam Master Jay. All
Man,
that
you
same
go so
guy.
far back, man. I remember you so well, man. Your brother used to spend the night at my house, man. I know you. I know.
All right.
You're going too deep, Cortez. You're going too deep. You're a citizen, though, Cortez. You're a citizen, Cortez.
Sway
Yo,
the boy there.
I got you. It's
Too
good.
much Flashback Friday.
Yeah, man. That's too
Keep
much,
rising
man.
to the top, Southside Jamaica, Queens, the anthem.
Keep rising to the top. Okay, Steve Stoute, man. Big round of applause
Thank
for
you,
Steve
brother.
Stoute, man.
You're
I appreciate
hilarious.
you. We got to continue these conversations. And
Steve
thank you
Stoute
for what
series,
you're
baby.
doing.
Yes.
The Steve Stoute series on Sway in the morning.
That's
I think that's it. That might be it.
Yes, it is.
Right. And
And-
Steve, one last
United
question.
Masses. And by the way, everybody go check out Toby's music, man. That man
yeah.
is super special.
dope.
I know, Sway, you've been a big supporter of him. You were definitely first on that kid, and he is a rock star.
Oh, he's
Yep.
beautiful. Yep.
And his wife.
All right, man.
Okay.
Wait, Steve, before you go, just to continue pushing the culture forward, can we lock in your vote to put Sway in the Radio Hall of Fame, por favor?
I'm glad you just said that. I'm glad. Where do you just give me the website? What do you do? Tell me and everybody else who's listening, how do you do that right now?
Let them know, HB.
Okay, so you go to radiovote.com. That's radiovote.com. Sway is nominated for the National Radio Hall of Fame, so there are some radio legends in this thing right now. Radiovote.com. Steve, citizens, all you need is an email address. They don't hound you afterwards and keep sending you random junk. Radiovote.com. Vote for Sway. As soon as you pull it up, you'll see his face right there. Click
I'm
on.
doing it right now.
Steve, we talking
doing it
first
right now.
ballot for Sway. We talking first ballot. We ain't doing this next year, Steve.
I'm not doing this next year. I ain't campaigning next year.
No,
Hey,
you crazy. Man, there ain't nobody fronting on Sway. You bugging? Ain't nobody fronting on. There he is right there.
You
With that
see
big
him?
ass
see me?
smile.
Do you see me? Come on, Stoute. Come on, man. Get me a brand partnership.
All
right.
We doing it right now. The vote's in.
Radiovote.com.
Hey, man, I appreciate
I'm
you.
saying the vote is in.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Oh, you did
Did
it?
it.
Okay, good. We got another vote. Give
Your
it up for
vote
Steve
has been
Stoute.
submitted. Thank you
There
for
it is.
voting. I just did it.
There you go, man. You a super duper citizen, Steve Stoute.
Appreciate you. Sway
I
in the morning,
appreciate you.
Stout.
All
Already.
right. Hey, thanks
All
for
right.
calling in. We'll do it again. We got to continue the series, okay?
Yes, sir.